Today's speaker has been involved in the design field for over 33 years and developed his approach very early on based on solid principles that deliver results. His expertise is in residential and commercial design, lighting design, custom furniture design, and all other aspects that relate to interiors. His greatest love is in residential interiors because of their personal nature. He has had his work presented and published in the Baker Furniture Catalog entitled the Macmillan Collection, which was an extensive selection of furniture drawn from the practice of one of America's most prestigious design firms, the over 85-year-old firm of Macmillan Incorporated, New York. He is a personal tailor to his clients by bringing out the best in them and their environments. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the owner and founder of Spectrum Interiors and the author of the forthcoming book, The Magic of Ambiance: How to Bring Your Interior Design Dream to Life. Stephen C. Adamko.
Okay, hey, good to be here with you. This podcast is a unique combination of a couple interrelated topics. It's going to be about businesses and business and office interiors, but it has also a lot of correlation to residential interior design as well. So we're going to be talking about business, office, ambiance, and the silent salesperson and how to capitalize on it, and also how to discover and integrate your business mission statement with your interior design presentation. One of the most important concepts in the design of offices or financial institutions or other places like restaurants and whatnot, as well as residential interior design, is really everything that goes into it. So obviously this includes all the materials, furniture, details, artwork, etc. All of these components, no matter how big or small, are operating individually as well as in concert as silent salespeople for your particular office. You could also say that it operates as a silent host for your residential environmental context as well. When it comes to businesses, a vast majority of business people do not understand the importance of this aspect of their business and its visual presentation and perception. So to wrap it all up, it's all about the look and the feeling, or the look and the ambiance, whether it is a business or a home or a restaurant. They're all important aspects to consider when looking at the whole total presentation. So number one is ambiance. This is the aspect that's all about the feelings, all about the emotions that are projected to your clients or customers or guests. A lot of this is going to come out of the discovery phase of the project. In other words, you need to ask the right questions that will cause your business, or you and your business, to think more deeply about the cause and the effect relative to your working environment and how clients, customers, and guests perceive you and how they relate to you through that environmental context. This process promotes a feeling of success, if you do it right anyway, no matter what level you're at in your particular genre or within the company itself. So it really doesn't matter whether you have a, I guess for lack of a better word, low-end environmental situation or on the high end of an environmental context. The same principles and theories and ways of going about it are the same. So the recipe is the same, if we could say it that way. So my personal definition of ambiance is as follows. It is the intangible element of an interior that touches the heart, the soul, the mind, and the emotions, that is visually appealing, intellectually stimulating, emotionally satisfying, and totally enriching for the occupants and others. Number two, the silent salesperson. This aspect is a real supercharger. If this is done right and applied correctly, the money that is invested in all the various elements of an interior design project is put to work or employed to do double duty in the form of multiple salespeople by selling the clients and customers on doing business or continuing to do business with you through tapping into as many of the five senses as possible. Again, this is the same thing for residential interiors. The more you can tap into or affect in a positive way all the five senses, the better the experience, the more richer the sensation, the greater the enhancement of the interior, and the greater the overall complete, comprehensive enjoyment people are going to have within that environment. The silent salesperson concept is all about orchestrating all the different elements that make up good interior design by coming together in a musical way to sell or romance the client. Some of those people are potential clients or customers. Those that become sold or convinced in doing business with you and your company. Others are current clients who purposely continue doing business with you. And so you're also, in a sense, courting the client or customer, not only the new ones, but also the ones that have been with you for a long time. You're still courting them. They can take their business elsewhere if they so desire. So you're still courting the client or the customer through a masterful manipulation of all the various elements that make up fantastic interior design. Now, business people are not going to know how to do this. So again, the concept is, and you need a real masterful interior designer to do this, someone who knows how to tap into not only the look, but the feeling, the intellect, the manner of thinking, and all these other elements. So this is a masterful manipulation of all the various elements that make up fantastic interior design. So it has to be orchestrated masterfully in order for it to eventually end up as fantastic interior design. So it's just like writing a piece of music. It's got to move you when it's all said and done. So I will say that when you handle things that way, or let a professional interior designer who really knows what they're doing handle this for you, and not only that, but the designer themselves, or the designer, him or herself, has to have a real handle on this. You can't fake this at all. You either have it or you don't. And so it's using the senses of vision and sight and touch and everything else, but it's got to be done with a thinking mindset. So all of this has to be done intelligently. As a matter of fact, one of the quotes that I have on the back of my business card is this: quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. And I have seen cases where someone did not think a design situation through the way it should have been. And after the work is done, or the construction, and we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, then later on the realization comes to the forefront that, oh, this should have been done different. That's not the time when you want to find out about it, for sure. So that's where vision comes into play. And that's different than visual sight. Vision is what you see with your mind beforehand. And hopefully, the important part about this is that when someone is designing, they must, at least in my book, they must have the ability to see things done before they're done, to actually see and feel it as if it's a reality. Thankfully, I have that gift, because if I didn't, I'd probably be dangerous. I might be dangerous, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there that are definitively dangerous, and yet the client doesn't have a clue about it. how shameful that is. It's too bad. That is really too bad. Okay, so when you orchestrate all these things together, this is your gift to the client or the customer or the guest. It's your gift to them. Thereby, you're able to make them feel special and appreciated. So a lot of businesses they don't have a realization of how important this aspect is of having a wonderful environment where you make them feel special and appreciated. And I don't care if it's, a place where they change tires or change oil in your car, or whether it's a restaurant or any other place of business. So this is extremely important to get a hold of this fact and not let it go. Be very tenacious about this. Getting an orchestrated environment that touches all the senses in a very positive way. So this silent salesperson that we're talking about, the way something is handled and presented, the silent salesperson actually goes to work from the minute they pull into your parking lot, to opening the front door, to entering the building and viewing your reception area or whatever it is that they are seeing when they first enter the door. So your silent salesperson, which is all the materials and everything that are orchestrated to say something, should be talking to and communicating with your client or customer, even while they're waiting for you to greet them, or before an assistant brings them to your office. So again, whether you know it or not, each of these elements in your interior design are making an impression on your client or customer or guest every time they enter your place of business. The impression can be good or not so good, depending on what is being communicated. In other words, how are all the elements composed so that they say something fantastic? It's just like a recipe or going to a fine restaurant where the entree is put together in such a wonderful way that it's just, oh my gosh, unbelievable. There's also a great quote that goes like this, and people have heard it all the time. Some people may not have heard it, but it's this: you never get a second chance. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. How true that is. Number 3, the rich environment. This element is extremely important when dealing with high-end places of business or financial institutions or with clients of a high net worth that utilize your services or buy your offering. This ties in with ambiance and the silent salesperson. But in all truthfulness, this element of richness can apply to any type of an interior design. So this is not just about, well, it's all high-end. And when I say high-end, I mean it doesn't have to be, extreme elegance. You can have elegance with a very casual, rustic environment if it's handled correctly. And this comes into play not only handling the materials properly, but handling the orchestration of textures. So it's not just color and pattern and things like that. It's the masterful orchestration of textures that makes a very rich environment. Matter of fact, even if you have a monochromatic color scheme, one color, if you're able to handle the materials and their textures in a phenomenally musical, orchestrated way, oh my gosh, it just comes off like, wow, like wrapping yourself in a mink coat. It's just fantastically wonderful. So as far as what I've just said, it's not just what we see with our eyes looking outward, but what others see when they look at us in our environmental context. What are their perceptions? What do you want their perceptions to be? This is probably one of the most overlooked and underdiscovered aspects of interior design with respect to architecture and the holistic environmental context. So we're talking about merging architecture and interiors together the way they're supposed to be, like a hand in a glove. But once these elements are employed by skillful hands and minds that are very in tune and sensitive to interior design and what interior design can really do and provide, it becomes an absolute force to be reckoned with. This is how you distinguish yourself from your competition. In this way, you get a standing ovation from your clients and customers multiple times over. So how do we make all this magic happen? Well, we've got to discover and integrate your business mission statement with your interior design presentation. So here are a few keys that will be extremely vital to the success of your office or store or restaurant, especially in regards to your interior design. Number one, proper discovery. This aspect is totally essential to making sure that things turn out as they should. A big part of this process is asking the right questions in order to get the right answers that contribute to getting the right results. Think of this as if you were Sherlock Holmes. Proper discovery also answers questions such as, where am I right now? And what current conditions do I need to deal with? Where do I want to go and what do I want to project to my clients and customers in terms of my visual interior design presentation? What kind of ambiance and feeling of the space do I want projected as well as perceived by my clients and customers? What kind of aesthetic and functional aspects do I need to incorporate in order to reinforce and support my staff and employees? Number two, the mission statement. You want to take the information that's been extracted from talking about your dreams and what you want, in other words, all the things that came from the discovery process, and put them in a paragraph or two that talks about what it is you want to accomplish. We're talking about the look, the ambiance, the feel, and the emotions that you want portrayed in your environment as well as portrayed to your clients and customers. This step is in addition to the functional aspects of a project, but it helps to hone the essence of the final result. You want to really refine this in a very descriptive way so that you have a yardstick, so to speak, a level, a plumb bob, so that you can measure things correctly. These aspects allow you to measure everything that happens from here on out to the end of the design process. So it's very important that we get this mission statement right. It eliminates all the fluff and a lot of things that you really don't need to take up your time with, or your money, or your energy, or even just the mental aspect of it. Get all that out of the way and focus on the things that really matter. Number three, budget. This is definitely your quote-unquote vested interest, because you surely have a vested interest in the amount of money you want to invest in your project, or office, or building, or restaurant. The idea is we don't want to just merely spend your money. We want to invest it with a view toward the maximum return on your investment. And that return can happen in a lot of different ways. Now, I've got a warning here. You must be realistic here. Do not expect a Rolls Royce for the price of a Buick. If you are a Rolls Royce business in terms of quality of service and products, then by all means have a Rolls Royce quality presentation to your interior design. Now, you don't have to do everything all at once. Some cases, it is nice to do it all at once because it eliminates a lot of disruption and headaches. But you can, in a lot of cases, space out your investment over a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, or 20-year span. You can pick any time span you want. This is where a master plan comes into play. It is absolutely necessary for the proper utilization of your resources. It is absolutely necessary for the proper utilization of your resources. Obviously, some of the things you will have to do all at once, such as certain construction phases, but there are some things that can be postponed and added after the fact without causing a lot of disturbance, as long as these things are pre-planned and accommodations have been made for them. So in essence, you are designing incremental additions or advances into your master planning. Obviously, some things you will have to do all at once or at the same time, such as certain construction phases. But there are some things that can be postponed and added after the fact without causing a lot of disturbance, as long as these things are pre-planned and accommodations have been made for them. So, in essence, you are designing incremental additions or advances into your master planning for implementation later on. Master planning is the exciting part, because once you have a plan and a vision for where you want to go, you will find the money to make it happen. It's not a prerequisite to have that money in hand right now. But having a vision makes the potential of getting the money that you need much more possible and probable. Number 4, integration. The architecture and the interiors function as a hand and glove scenario. The interior, which includes all the backgrounds, furniture, furnishings, artwork, etc., they all function as a stage setting, so to speak, for the individuals that will inhabit the space. It's important that these elements put those individuals that are working in your business environment into the very best light. They need to be gems highlighted against the backdrop of your business. Remember, people are one of your biggest investments. The whole environment should reinforce, support, and enhance everyone working for the business or company. They need to be the gems highlighted against the backdrop of your business or your business environment. Remember, people are one of your biggest investments. The whole environment should reinforce, support, and enhance everyone working for the company or the business. What I have enunciated to you is exactly the way I do business. All of my designs are personally tailored to the client, with the result being orchestrated with the desired ambiance that is seen, felt, understood, and experienced. I apply this philosophy and manner of working to a broad range and spectrum of residential and commercial interior design, as well as furniture and lighting design. And a lot of times I'll communicate these or help people to understand and communicate these things to others via teleseminars, webinars, and seminars. So there you have it. 2 interrelated elements, major topics that blend together, just like intertwining or weaving your hands together, your left and your right hand, just kind of, like you would hold your hands and interlace your fingers. It's that type of thing. So one hand helps and supports the other and vice versa. So this interlacing of your fingers is like a dovetail joint. It is not only beautiful, and a lot of times, people, it's the same kind of look and feeling if somebody were like praying or something like that, where they've got their fingers interlaced, but it's very, you might say integrous. It's very integrous. It's very unified. It's like dovetail joints. Not only are they strong because they're interlaced, but they're also extremely good looking too, as far as joints are concerned, woodworking joints are concerned. But that is kind of the essence of it. One hand supports the other, and having this integrated, interlocking scenario to your interior design that blends your business philosophy or mission statement with the interiors is a huge, powerful force. It's a huge, powerful force and element that will communicate very vividly to your customers and clients. So it's extremely important. I can't emphasize it enough that we create the proper backdrop, not only for your clients and customers, but also the people who work for you. The goal of the environment is to be a backdrop so that the people are the gems in the setting, is to make the people, whether they be customers or clients or staff members or employees, the people are the gems in the setting. Very important to understand and get that.